It will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
It's been a few months since Final Destination Bloodlines had a major triumph at the box office, pulling in a $285 million worldwide total. The sixth entry also reignited interest in the franchise after a 14-year hiatus. Yikes! I'm dying to pick up a physical copy of this bad boy on July 22nd. Now fans are clamoring for more as the creatives and producers of this franchise are teasing a seventh installment. While we wait for an official announcement, which is definitely coming, trust me, let's talk about some of the craziest theories out there for the future of this franchise. Some of these theories even come from leftover ideas from the creative team of the previous film. Now, let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're a fan of the Final Destination franchise like myself, please make sure to subscribe to this channel for all things horror, and check out the merch store so you can show off your love of the genre anywhere you go. Channel members even get discounts on the Directed by Wes Carpenter shirt all summer long, as well as a ton of other items. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get into some Final Destination 7 talk, baby. First and foremost, I know that some of y'all are getting antsy wondering why a seventh installment hasn't been announced yet, but to me it sounds like that the creatives are just trying to find the right direction for where to take this franchise next. Teasing more Final Destinations to come, co-director Adam Stein said, "In terms of more, Death's work is never done. There's always more to do. These movies do take several years to figure out because they are such intricate, twisty Rube Goldberg machines, so you never know what the future holds." Take this into perspective, directors Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein worked on Bloodlines for 3 years before it even hit theaters. Unlike a lot of the slasher films we talk about on this page, Final Destination movies take some time to cook up. Producer Craig Perry has reiterated this same idea in recent interviews. It's an intense process making a new Final Destination film, and this last one had multiple struggles on top of that. We'll talk more about the script that got tossed aside in favor of the story we just got, but you gotta remember they announced Final Destination Bloodlines all the way back in 2019, and because of things like the pandemic and the writer's strike, they pushed this one back all the way to this year. Talking about the next installment, however, Perry said, "Never say never. This is sequel land. I think Bloodlines has liberated us creatively to be able to go to a lot of different places in time, and to make connections that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So it seems like more is definitely coming, and I hope whatever Final Destination 7 does, we end up getting to jump around in time a bit to see different eras of people deal with Death's design. That opening scene in Bloodlines was chef's kiss, baby. More of that, please!" What excites me the most about Final Destination 7, however, is that there are so many ideas just floating around out there ready to push a whole new movie forward. For example, the original story for Final Destination Bloodlines dealt with first responders that were dealing with Death's design in an all-new way. It was announced in March of 2020 that the screenplay for the sixth installment, being written by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan at the time, would focus on the world of first responders like EMTs and firefighters. These are the type of characters that get a glimpse of death every single day. Would they have a more intricate, maybe even a more sophisticated way of going about this very dire situation? With the ongoing pandemic and the writer's strike happening in 2023, it obviously delayed the film for so long that they opted to switch it up entirely, hiring a fresh team of writers for a brand new story. While I am happy with what we got in Bloodlines, I would love to see what Marcus and Patrick's original vision for this film would have been. Some background on these guys: they've written multiple Saw movies and even created the Collector duology. They've been shafted with quite a few projects recently as well. On top of their Final Destination script getting tossed, their angry Saw 11 screenplay will likely never come to fruition now that Blumhouse snatched up the rights to Jigsaw, and their third Collector film got shut down mid-production after the producers ghosted them. Man, that's petty. These guys have had a rough couple of years. Someone please let one of their franchise scripts get made. Come on! I am lobbying hard to see them in the writer's room for the next installment here. Now, the alternate ending to Final Destination Bloodlines is the thing that has me the most intrigued. Could we see some sort of different variation of this in a future film? Speaking with Screen Rant, co-director Adam Stein said, "The script went through so many different versions and we explored every different possibility. I think one of the early drafts of the script ended with Stephanie making it inside the cabin and basically ended with her, that she's going to live the rest of her life in the cabin to protect Charlie. It sort of had this depressing feeling in the end. It was like, oh, okay, I get it. She's the new Iris. She's going to live her whole life in the cabin to protect her little brother. Now, if you've been following this page for a while, you know that I'm a sucker for tragedy, and I kinda love this ending. It almost gives off something similar to Final Destination 5. But I will say, the more ridiculous and in-your-face finale that we got in Bloodlines just feels way more fitting for the popcorn movie that certainly is this film. Bloodlines' climax being rendered as one massive mistake made by the characters that leads to their death feels so Final Destination to its core. I also have to mention that Adam Stein goes on an absolute tear during this Screen Rant interview talking about how important logs were to the new film after the iconic opening of the original sequel. Elaborating on this homage at the end of the new film, he said, "Well, we knew there needed to be logs somewhere in the movie. Every time, from the time we got hired, whenever anyone talked to us about Final Destination, the first thing they said is logs. And we're like, there needs to be logs in this movie. How do you do it in a way that feels earned and feels like it does justice to the iconic diva that is the logs?" Listen, I agree with Adam here, but dude is obsessed with logs.
Say logs again. Say
Logs
again. I dare you. I double dare you.
I bring all of this up because I feel like we can't just sweep this new idea under the rug, that there's kind of a whole new way to cheat death here. Sort of. Hiding out in a secluded cabin or somewhere without any sharp objects, or maybe even blunt objects that could hit you in the face real fast. Iris didn't exactly find a way to cheat death in this film, but she did figure out how to slow down the cycle. Could we incorporate this element into the next installment of the franchise while once again finding something new? You could have a more tragic tone for a slightly more grounded 7th installment that ends with a character being sentenced to a life in a similar setting to that cabin to protect the rest of their family members. I feel like that's a fate worse than death, and honestly, I'd hate to see it go to waste in such a brutally cynical franchise. While that ending wouldn't have worked for Bloodlines because of its cartoonish tone, could we apply that to another movie in the future where it fits a little better? This could be a really ambitious way to end a Final Destination film in the future, something that's a little more sophisticated and emotional. One of my other favorite ideas floating around about the 7th installment is that the entire ending sequence, the whole denouement, could be one big premonition. Maybe Charlie's date here, or just one of the characters at the house, could have some sort of premonition starting the cycle all over again. Stephanie and Charlie could be saved by a new premonition character, leading to them passing on their knowledge from the previous film to these new folks. Now look, it's still Final Destination, everybody's gotta die at some point, but could Stephanie and Charlie come back just for the beginning of this next movie to pass on their knowledge, like everything that was in Grandma Iris's book? That's how you could pass on the idea of the cabin, slowing down the process of death to brand new characters who maybe deal with it in a totally different way. And you could bring back that super tragic ending we were just talking about if they have that knowledge already right from the get-go. So don't sacrifice the tried and true episodic formula of the Final Destination series, but can we take some of the lesser ideas from Bloodlines and make them the focus of the 7th installment? I think that could make for a great and pretty tragic new sequel. If you want to hear me talk more about Final Destination 7 theories, including how they could use Kimberly Corman and Thomas Burke for the next entry, check out this video here for routes the 7th installment could certainly take. Before we sign off, please make sure to subscribe to my horror gaming channel, GullGotha. We're currently streaming a bunch of horror games there throughout the week, so please make sure to subscribe. So what do you guys think about Final Destination 7? Should they recycle ideas that didn't make it into Bloodlines, or should it just be an entirely new thing that we just don't see coming at all? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.